Hello, countrymen. My name is Ezra. I work with the Family Peace Association Uganda. I want to thank God for this far we've come and continuously thank Him for the continued blessings He has bestowed upon you in your respective families. We strongly believe that a family is an institution that was ordained by God as a special blessing to humanity through which we raise children and also achieve the three blessings. That is, we are able to be fruitful, we are able to multiply seeds of goodness, and also we are able to dominate nature. Something has been bothering me lately, and that has been the rising of children. I want to tell you that the biggest asset you have in your home is actually children. Some of you may not know what it really means, but if you have a look at those who have childless marriages, that's the time you'll be able to appreciate the value of that child, the essence, the relevance, or the vitalness of that child to your life, but also to the life of society, to the continuity of society. People always look at assets in areas of land, property, and many other aspects, but they forget that their greatest asset is actually the children. And lately, because of work and many other aspects of life, we have eventually resigned from our role of raising children. We just imagine that the schools will be taking care of these children. They'll ensure that they inculcate in them a sense of career development. But we forget that the first school is actually the family. It is from the family where the children can be able to build their character. It's from the family that children can be able to build their identity. It's from the family that the children can be able to identify and build their vision, which at most times is actually not taken into perspective. Mothers are very busy looking for money. Fathers are very busy looking for the money. And the children are hopeless. They now resort to TVs to see if they can get some useful information to learn from. They resort to their peers to see if they can be able to help them to learn one or two things. They resort to churches, which actually come with specific content guidelines that may not necessarily be in consonant with their immediate demands and needs in terms of learning. So there is a big gap that I want to present to you, that the children are actually in desire to learn, but they don't have a teacher. The mother was supposed to have taught them, oh, she's very busy on her phone. There is this thing, TikTok. You see, there is this thing of WhatsApp, Facebook, and many things that occupy a lot of the parents. Others even have soaps. If a child comes to learn and it's a time for the mother to enjoy her soap, go away. So the children, they resort to their own innate ways of how they can get information which can help them to grow. This is becoming a big dilemma, my countrymen. I have a few friends who keep complaining, children these days, we don't understand them. Children don't even give us respect. Children don't care about their life. Children this and this. My child, yes, you are looking at the outcome. You are looking at the effect. But have you taken time to know the root cause? By the time you are blaming this child for being inhuman, for being disrespectful, did you invest time to train him how a child is supposed to look like? Yes, generations come and go. I want to say that our children live in a very complex and extremely difficult times, where there's a lot of competition, where there's a lot of technology, a lot of this and this. That is true. But as a father, as a mother, have you taken time to raise these children in a more responsible way? One thing that I've learned, which is true, is that things don't happen. We cause them to happen. If you want good children, we must cause that to happen. Where you choose to say to God, sorry, yeah, where you choose to say that everybody for himself and God for us all, and imagine that environment will shape your children. Trust me, it will, in whatever form it chooses. Your children will eventually be what the environment will actually also try by its own instance do within its mandate. When you choose to resign your responsibility, someone else will fill in the missing gap. It can be a bad neighbor, it can be a bad peer, it can be a poor program on the TV. It will fill the gap because naturally there is a principle of filling in the missing what? The missing gap. Today, I want us to focus purely on raising children of goodness. One thing that is true is that when you are long gone, of which you will, there is what we call handover. All of us will hand over. There will be a time when we are not here, and the children we are raising will take on from us. Have we prepared them enough? Have we done what it takes for them to be children we can rely on and ensure that we can hand over the future? We can hand over our assets. And most times we've not prepared them. A child from nowhere, he's shocked that is going to be a heir. He is given a lot of asset value. How to start, he has no idea. The parent did not take their roles properly. There are principles that I want to focus on today that are very vital in as far as raising children is concerned. The first is that we must inculcate in them a sense of gratitude. Train children to be happy, to be very, very appreciative of the smallest, including a meal. Children must feel appreciative for the meal you offer them, for the care you offer them. A sense of gratitude is very important in as far as human life is concerned. People who do not value the small things others do for them, they actually live a useless life. They just take everything for granted. Even when they get a spouse, they take the spouses for granted. Even when they get a job, they take these jobs for granted. They never take anything as a very big blessing to them. Why? Because during nurturing, the parents never taught them the sense of gratitude. Being happy for anything small that comes to your life. Be happy for the life. Be happy for the breath. Be happy for the meal. Everything that happens, you must have the sense of gratitude. The next is having to nurture them to multiply goodness. That every asset they have, they should be able to add. They should be able to manage it and also increase it. Yes, there is this new trend which is running, which I sometimes I'm also a victim too. On the birthday, how do you celebrate the birthday of your child? Mama, we buy very big cakes. We get good flowers. Then, after the celebration, we are looking for somebody to help us in waste management to take away the debris. Traditionally, that is not how our old parents taught us. Naturally, whenever you'd go and visit your auntie, she would give you some small hen. Not the big one, the small one. Why? She's giving you a seed that you should use to become wealthy. So that small hen, you would begin to nurture it. Then at some point, it begins to bring eggs, then it brings more. And you see a child who was given one just hen has so much in terms of, it's not necessarily about even the hen, but in it, you are taught now how to rise, how to take care of this, the poultry, because of a simple gift that was given to you by your auntie. An uncle would give you a goat in some of the communities, a small one, not a big one. Then from nowhere, the goat bores more children, and from nowhere, you have 20, you have 30, and the child now is a herdsman. In some community, they give a cow, a small cow. If at every birthday of your child, you give a child some hen, you give a child maybe a goat, you give a child maybe a calf, maybe a tree, a mango tree, a fruit to grow. At every time this child is growing, is also being given an opportunity to grow in responsibility. Because of that small thing, the child begins to become a very good herdsman, a person who can be able to handle poultry. But we are giving them toys, eh? You're giving them toys of a car, toys of this, so that you can actually increase their playing. You are helping them to learn how to play instead of nurturing them to be productive. So all those are gaps that I'm focusing at in this discourse. The other element, you must train your children. You must train your children deliberately on how to manage their family assets. How does the child handle the finances in the home? How does the child manage the chairs, the plates, the forks? I've seen very many homes, they buy 10 glasses. By the end of the month, there is no glass. And no one is accountable for this. So children are taught to waste the assets. Everything that they buy is destroyed. Everything they buy is destroyed. Can we teach our children how to handle assets? Can we have an intentional skill on how they can value everything that is in their possession? How do they handle the sofa set in the sitting room? How do they handle the clothes that you've been able to buy them? How do they manage the utensils in the kitchen? All that is part of training them on how to manage assets. We must train our children to manage the environment. I'm happy recently government has gazetted a day for general cleaning. But before we talk about public cleaning, what about family cleaning? Have you taught your children to clean the environment? I'm told some parents hire experts from other homes to come and clean homes for their children, to even make the bed of their children. Now, if you are devoid your child from learning these basics, which is part of him to rise into a responsible being, how will they now know these things? You must train the child that a healthy mind lives in a healthy body. A healthy body lives in a healthy environment. Can they learn how to sweep the compound? Can they learn how to clean their bedroom? Can they learn how to handle this, the restrooms, so that the children can grow with responsibility? Can they learn that at every time they must also have some elements to do with planting the trees, because the trees are important? Can they learn how to manage the tap where they are drawing the water from? An environment is a common good for everybody. If children are taught how to manage the environment at home, they can also manage the environment in the public spaces. And this new law that government has come up with will naturally fall in the right place, because children are already nurtured at the homestead. Lastly, we must teach our children to build skills of entrepreneurship. Let children know how to make money, not how to spend the money. I love so many of the parents, whenever they come from work, they say, "My son, can I buy for you this?" Before you teach children how to purchase, how to buy, first teach them how to earn. Because earning can give them a sustainable approach of spending. Before you teach children how to spend, teach them how to save. If they can have a small box where a child can put 50 shillings, 100 shillings per day, by the time they grow, if consistently they are saving 100 shillings, at the end of the month, it will be about 3,000 or something like that. Then by the end of the year, by the time they grow, they will begin to build a culture of saving. Many of us are teaching children a culture of spending, but not teaching them a culture of saving. Teach children how to relate with others, how to relate with their peers, interpersonal skills. How do they manage visitors? How do they manage their colleagues? How do they manage the others? How do they manage neighbors? How do they manage themselves in public places? Like if they're in a worship place, maybe in a meeting with other people, how are they supposed to conduct themselves in the public scene? All that is supposed to be taught to them while they are at home. Teach children to be godly, because God is the source of wisdom. God is the ultimate and sovereign power over humanity. Let children know how to pray, how to worship, how to serve, how to be very dedicated to anything in terms of good work in church. Many children now are being abandoned on a Sunday or Saturday or Friday. Parents go to church and leave the children at home. And at the end of the day, children are becoming irreligious. They do not build the faith. Without spiritual growth, all the things I've talked about are useless, because the foundation on which we have our favor, in which we build our humanity, is derived from our ability to understand God and nurture our spirituality. So we must train our children to love, to worship, to adore, and have a sense of godliness. It is this that even builds or molds their character and their discipline. Let children know the do's and don'ts in public scene. When you are in the public, you don't walk at a fast rate. You move gently, with reverence, because you care that your behavior or conduct shouldn't be able to be an abuse to other people. So there's a lot we can learn from in as far as this discussion is concerned, raising children. I want to implore you, the mother to these children, the father to these children, have time for children. On your to-do list, you can have only 30 minutes per day when you are training children specifications, specific attributes that you think are preparing them for adulthood. Like I said, these are not going to be children forever. These are going to be fathers tomorrow, husbands tomorrow, leaders tomorrow, and we have a moral responsibility of raising them while they are still at home. When you don't raise them, the world will raise them. When the world raises them, we shall even be so much shocked at some of the indifferent behaviors they are going to exhibit. What kind of child do you want to see 10 years, 30 years, 100 years, or 50 years from now? That understanding of the end should now give you deliberate lessons or training modules that you should begin to have in your home. Have time for your children. What you raise them is what they are going to become. When you don't raise them, the world will teach them for you. And I'm sure you'll regret. Yes, you are very busy. But I'll tell you that without human capital, everything else is useless. And your biggest asset now are those children. Have time for them. Thank you so much. I think we shall always keep building our series. Our next episode will come in the next short period. I want to thank you. Let's meet again some other day.